If you're trying to find a good travel or cashback card, picking the right one can be hard. So here are the 7 best credit cards of 2025, starting at the bottom of the list with the Chase Freedom Unlimited. This is a no annual fee card with some great spending categories, like your ability to earn 5% cash back on travel booked through the Chase Travel Portal, 3% on dining and drugstore purchases, and then 1.5% on everything else. In addition to that, this card also has an introductory bonus where you can earn $200 when you spend $500 in the first 3 months of your card membership. So with that said, this is a pretty great cashback card, and like many cashback cards in the same category, it also provides you with a 0% introductory APR. But even though there's 0% APR for an introductory period, you want to make sure that you remember to pay this card on time and in full to practice good credit habits. Now, as a bonus, other credit cards I would consider good in the same category would be something like the Capital One Savor or the Capital One Platinum. The Capital One Platinum is great for those with no or low credit, and the Savor is a great cashback card for everyday use. The only reason why I like the Chase Freedom Unlimited a little bit better, probably because of the fact that Chase has other cards higher up in the tiers that you could potentially upgrade this card to later once your credit score improves. So who is the Chase Freedom Unlimited for? The Chase Freedom Unlimited is for beginners, people looking for a credit card that provides cash back, but also for those that already have a credit score to prove to Chase that you'd be good with this card. Now, with that said, the next on this list is the Bilt MasterCard. Another no annual fee card, but this one's really unique because of the fact that with the spending categories, you have things like 3x points on dining and then 2x points on travel, but the biggest, most lucrative, and best benefit on this card is the fact that you can earn 1x points on your rent payments up to $100,000 to spend each year. And trust me, there's no other card like this, because while you can use other credit cards to pay for your rent, the Bilt actually allows you to pay for your rent, earn those points, and they'll take care of the transaction fee. The only requirement they have for you to actually be able to earn these points on rent is to make sure that you at least use this card 5 times each statement period, which I normally recommend that people set up for certain subscriptions, whether that be Hulu, Spotify, Netflix, or any other subscriptions you might have. This will allow you to earn those points, make sure that you have a fixed amount of money that's being spent on that card each month, keeping the balance of this card every single month pretty simple. Now, this card doesn't have an intro bonus like many other cards do, but if you're spending $20, $30, $40,000 a year on rent, that effectively should earn you the equivalent amount in points. And what can you do with those points, you may ask? Well, Bilt has a plethora of transfer partners like United, Marriott, and Hyatt. So who's this card really for? Well, I would say this card is for basically anyone that rents. Because while you may earn points on other cards for something like dining or groceries, for most people there is no bigger expense than your monthly rent payments. And if you're thinking about, well, should I just use this card for basically everything? I would say no, not necessarily, because while 2x points on travel and 3x points on dining is great, there are other cards that allow you to earn much higher points on those same categories. So I would just keep this as basically an auto bill pay card. Basically for bills you know that you would pay every single month without fail. But moving on to the 5th card on this list, we have the Chase Sapphire Preferred, a $95 annual fee card that allows you to earn 5x points on travel booked through the Chase Travel Portal after you use your credit, then 3x points on dining, online grocery stores, and select streaming services. And that's not to mention that with this card, there is an intro bonus of 60,000 points when you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months of account opening, with those points being 25% more when redeemed for travel, so those 60,000 points will be worth around $750. Plus, as a benefit of this card, you will receive an additional $50 hotel credit in the Chase Travel Portal that should help offset that $95 annual fee. Which, if you want to find this bonus or any bonus for any card on this list, I'll leave a link to all of them in the description that also helps support these videos. But with that said, who is this card for? Personally, I'd say that this card is for those that are just starting to travel, meaning you want a card with some travel benefits like a hotel credit or ability to earn more points for every single flight, and you want to be able to redeem those points for a higher value than you would with a lower tier card. However, one thing to note about this card, if you are looking for a travel card, is that the Chase Sapphire Preferred doesn't have any lounge access. So while you receive those other travel perks, if you're the type that travels often or plans on traveling more, and you want to relax in the airport prior to a flight or during a layover, then this might not be the card for you. With that said, there are about 3 cards on my list that do have airport lounge access, so I'll get back to those in a second. But moving on to the 4th card on this list, and my favorite food card, you have the American Express Gold Card. This card has a $325 annual fee, but some great spending categories for my foodies out there, like your ability to earn 4x points on US supermarkets and on dining at US restaurants. Then in addition to that, also has an intro bonus where you can earn 60,000 points in the first 6 months of card membership when you spend $6,000 or more. Those 60,000 points are worth around $600 towards travel. And this card's perks don't end there. Because to help offset the $325 annual fee, this card also has a $10 a month Uber/Uber Eats credit, a $10 a month credit that can be used either for Grubhub, the Cheesecake Factory, or Five Guys, a $7 a month credit for Dunkin', and a $50 semi-annual credit for restaurants on Resy. So who is this card for? Well, I'd say this card is for the foodie, whether you like to cook at home or go and eat out. Because as you'll see with the rest of the cards on this list and the ones that we've talked about so far, there pretty much isn't one that allows you to earn 4x points back on something like dining or at supermarkets. And while there are ones that come close, this is still my favorite dining credit card. Plus the fact that it's metal and gold also just looks great. With that said, moving on to the top 3 cards now, we have in third place the Capital One Venture X. This is a great $395 annual fee travel card that also has some great spending categories for everyday purchases. And that's because of the fact that you can earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars, as well as 5x miles on flights all booked through the Capital One travel portal. Then 2x miles on everything else. And it's really that 2x miles on everything else that really encapsulates this card as a great everyday spender. With that said, in addition to the miles you can earn on spending categories, the intro bonus for this card is 75,000 miles when you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months of card membership. And those 75,000 miles are worth around $750 towards travel. So one of the largest intro bonuses so far. Now, how do the benefits stack up? Well, with this card, you have a $300 annual travel credit that can be used through the Capital One travel portal. Plus, in addition to that, after your first anniversary, you'll receive 10,000 anniversary miles. That's equivalent to around $100 worth of travel. And that's not to mention that this card also comes with a credit for either TSA PreCheck or Global Entry, making this a pretty hefty travel card. Now, as I mentioned before, there are 3 cards on this list that have access to airport lounges, and this is the first one. With the Capital One Venture X having access to not only the Capital One lounges, but also the Plaza Premium and Priority Pass ones as well. And with these, that gives you the ability to enter over 1,000 worldwide, which is pretty great, but there is one thing you need to know. See, while you have access to the Capital One lounges, this is the smallest network of lounges of the top 3 cards on my list. And that's because Capital One has only opened about 4 so far, with their most recent one being open in DC, that while nice, has a little bit more restrictions than other Capital One lounges. That being said, the Capital One Venture X is still a great card for those travelers, especially if you're looking for a card that has some travel insurance and protections with it. So who would I say this card is for? Well, I'd say this is for the traveler that wants access to some lounges, however doesn't want to pay the higher annual fee of the next 2 cards on the list. Now, understanding that, let's move on to the second to last card, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, a $550 annual fee card that is debated as one of the best credit cards out there, because not only does it have great travel benefits, but it also has some pretty amazing spending categories as well. Like your ability to earn 10x points on hotels and rental cars, as well as 5x on flights all booked through the Chase travel portal. Then in addition to that, you have the ability to earn 3x points on dining at restaurants, which is all great, but if you want to earn additional points, you also have the intro bonus where you can earn 60,000 points when you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months of card membership, which because this is Chase Sapphire Reserve, those points are worth around 50% more when redeemed for travel. So those 60,000 points are worth around $900. Now, moving on to the benefits, you have some similar credits like the $300 annual travel credit and the credit for TSA PreCheck or Global Entry. But the main difference with this $300 annual travel credit is the fact that you can actually use this credit outside of the Chase travel portal. Plus, it isn't limited to things like hotels and flights, because of the fact that it can also be used on things like tolls and taxis. Now, just like with other cards, you do have to use this $300 annual travel credit before you actually are able to earn those points for travel, but that's pretty standard when it comes to these types of cards. In addition to all of that, Chase also has some benefits with DoorDash and Lyft, like credits and additional perks, but you have to understand that some of these benefits do have expiration dates, so use them wisely. Moving on to this card's lounge access, the Chase Sapphire Reserve not only has access to Chase Sapphire Reserve lounges, but also access to the Air Canada and Priority Pass lounges as well. And as I mentioned before, Chase has a few more spaces and lounges open and available to their customers than Capital One. And realistically, while they both have access to Priority Pass, the card-based lounges are normally going to be the better lounges you want to look for. So when determining which one of these cards you may want to open, seeing which airports they're open in is one of the best ways to determine if the card is worth it for you. In addition to all of this, the Chase Sapphire Reserve also has similar travelers insurance and protections, and because of that, the one other thing I'd say that separates this card is their transfer partner, which their big three are United, Air Canada, and Hyatt. So when you're looking where can I redeem my points and which partners are the best to redeem them with, those are the main three that I would say gives Chase an edge. But who's this card for? Well, I'd say the Chase Sapphire Reserve is for the traveler, but also someone that likes to dine out. Because remember, while the Capital One Venture X has that 2x miles on everything, the Chase Sapphire Reserve has 3x miles on dining out, which makes sense seeing who this card is targeting. Now, moving on, the last card on this list and the one in first place is the Platinum Card by American Express, which is a $695 a year premium travel card that allows you to earn 5x points on prepaid hotels through the American Express travel portal and 5x points on flights booked directly through airlines or through the American Express travel portal as well. Then 1x on everything else. But how can you earn more points? Well, with the American Express Platinum Card, they have an intro bonus where you can earn at least 80,000 points when you spend $8,000, and those 80,000 points are worth up to around $800 towards travel. With that said, this card also has over $1,000 in annual benefits, like a $200 airline fee credit, a $200 hotel credit, $200 a year in Uber Cash, and so much more. Plus, like the other travel cards on this list, also provides you with a credit for either TSA PreCheck or Global Entry, and even better, comes with a credit for Clear as well, which if you thought TSA PreCheck was a fast way to get through security, Clear is on a whole nother level. And if you don't believe me, you'll just have to check it out for yourself. Now, moving on to one of the things that most people want to hear about with this card is their lounge access, which with the American Express Platinum Card, it provides you with access to Priority Pass lounges, similar to other cards on this list, but in addition to that, it also provides you with access to the American Express Centurion lounges, which of Chase, Capital One, and American Express has the most and best lounges so far. And that's because the Centurion lounges are not just in 3, 4, 5 airports, but are in over 24 worldwide. Plus, in addition to that, when you fly certain Delta seats, you'll also have access to the Delta Sky Clubs, which to me solidifies the Platinum Card as the best travel card. Now, if all of that access weren't enough, you also have Priority Pass, which allows you to have access to over 1,000 lounges worldwide. And with the Priority Pass card, it also gives you access once a year to the Chase Sapphire Reserve lounges, which is great, especially if you just want to try out one of those lounges. Now, in addition to that, this card also has traveler's insurance and protections, and one of the best 24/7 concierge services you could imagine. But who is this card for? Well, I'd say this card is for the frequent traveler, that person that wants to get through security quickly, and is in airports often, but doesn't want to feel like a regular airport customer. Which brings me to something that you've got to start understanding. While we went over the basics of the Platinum Card, there's so much more you need to know. Click this video to get a deep dive on that card, and see you in that one.